when it comes to keeping our roads safe. And joining us live this morning to talk more about how the OPP is preparing for the weekend is OPP Sgt. Kerry Schnidt, familiar face to anybody who watches our program. Kerry, nice to see you this morning, Sergeant, I should say. Let's talk about this weekend. It's sort of a two-part thing. You've got Saturday, the messy, snowy conditions, which we kind of saw yesterday. Yeah. Could be more. How do you prepare for that on a weekend different than the sort of regular morning commute, regular commute we see Monday to Friday?
Telling everybody to also plan ahead for it and think about what's going on. Clear your vehicle ice and snow. Know it's going to take you longer to get going. You know, watch those plows. Don't try to get ahead of them, and give yourself time and distance to slow down, change lanes, stop. You know, there might not be as much traffic volume as there would be on a typical weekday morning or weekday commute, but it's still going to be a messy drive. And like those snow streamers coming across, you go from beautiful blue sky to whiteout conditions in a matter of seconds.
It'd be an instant, right? Yeah.
And that can be terrifying.
I want to pick up on the plows because Bill mentioned it too when he was giving the forecast a minute or so ago. But we were in our meeting yesterday and we could hear this incredible blaring of horns out on the 401, and it was this conga line of plows, and clearly someone had tried to pass them here. What is the potential fine and charge if you do pass a conga line?
It is absolutely illegal. It's dangerous, and we've seen crashes involving snowplow operations. So when those echelons of plows, when they're taking up all the lanes all across the highway, you are not allowed to try to sneak in between the vehicles to try to get through. And that's why you hear those air horns blasting.
It was so loud.
It is absolutely loud. They're looking forward. They're throwing snow, and that can cause huge damage as well. They're looking forward. They don't want to be looking at the back. And the fact that they're blasting their horns tells me that there's people trying to sneak up and get up behind them. You know, and that's just causing all kinds of issues. So yeah, it is illegal. There's new legislation. You can be fined for that. A couple $100 tickets that are there to prevent that issue from happening. And of course, the more traffic that's out there, the slower it's going to take those plows to get through. And if there's a crash, that whole plowing operation ceases and stops until they're all back.
The irony of it is that it actually slows things down. You may sneak by, but everyone else slows down for it. And it really is a recipe for disaster. Let's talk about a different mix here, of course, and that is drinking and driving. And, you know, Super Bowl weekend, I'm sure you have the statistics, or at least anecdotally know what it's like. What is it typically like on that Super Bowl Sunday for OPP Highway Safety?
You know what? You need to plan ahead. It is very busy. It's quiet. It'll be quiet from 6:30 till about 9 o'clock. And then from the 10 o'clock on, everyone's going home, either celebrating or they're annoyed that their team lost. And we're going to be out there doing ride checks, just like police services all across really the country, making sure drivers are safe and sober and that you've planned ahead. The Super Bowl game in the stadium, you know, at that on Sunday, there is going to be boxes of hats and jerseys that say Super Bowl champions Kansas, Super Bowl champions Philadelphia. They're planning ahead. They don't know which way it's going to go, but they're planning ahead. And you need to plan ahead as well, so that so you're not making those decisions game time. You're making the decisions well in advance. So if you're going to be out there celebrating at a club, at a bar, at a friend's place, and you're going to be impaired or in a tough position at the end of the game, you have to know how you're getting home, and you can't just think about yourself and say, I'm good enough to go.
I like that planning ahead analogy. Also, there's a responsibility if you're hosting a Super Bowl party. You've got to think of your social host responsibilities too, don't you?
Absolutely. Smart serve. You go to any bar or club, they're going to be checking your sobriety, and they're going to stop serving you when it's appropriate. You know, if you're at a house party and you've got a whole collection of spirits and drinks there waiting for you, and you start indulging, by the time you have to start thinking about going home, if you're the party host, you're going to be liable for that as well. And of course, as the driver, you're ultimately responsible for your actions. So put those keys away, figure out how you're getting home. There's so many options. Celebrate, enjoy, and feel free, but don't get into a vehicle and start driving.
So true. Okay, stay safe this weekend. We appreciate the time, Sergeant Schmidt. Thanks so much. Good to see you again. Enjoy the Super Bowl this weekend.